Welcome back to Topics in Management. Today we're talking about HR management, managing people, managing yourselves included. I'm focused on online outsourcing and how you can manage people, including yourself, efficiently. And as we know, we've been going through a lot of the different files. This is the file that shows there is the two main assignments that you need to do. All of the topics that we're discussing this week are in here, including a lot of extra stuff. If you check in here, orienting and training employees, you know how that relates to a company like Samsung. That's easy to understand. My question for you is, since I say you are like a company, how should you be orienting and training employees? Is that more clear?
Yes. I don't know.
What about Arthur? Arthur Fernandez, what do you think? Why should you care about orienting and training your staff?
I think that, sorry, I'm not alone doing my class. I think that people have to manage every time HR. So, like, I don't know if you are like the captain of a football team or a soccer team. You have to manage your people. If you're leading a project in class and you are the leader of the group, you have to manage the people. I think we always have to manage people and their willings and what they have to do, and to give this extra volunteer to do things. So yeah, I think that's important to know how to manage people.
Awesome. So that's actually not what I was hoping you'd say,
Okay.
but it's even better. The idea of in class, you are in an organization. You can think of our class like a company, and you, many of you can work alone, but it's better if you work with others. It's better if you do team projects. And so, Fahim, Malik, what are your two main assignments in our class all semester?
Yes, marketing, Domino's marketing strategy.
For every student in our class, what are just the overall two projects you have to do? The green stuff.
Okay, so the weekly topic, this one, Trump project.
Yes, the weekly topic, right. And the other one, are you working in a group already?
No, I don't know. No. I'm in alone.
You're alone so far. So describe this. Everybody should realize that you have people around you that are encouraged to work with you on a group project. Two heads should be better than one. Maybe it's less work. So working together should help you. You should understand that you need to train the other people about what your project is. So you need to promote it. How many of you have? Eloise, Julie, Gulkayo, Ulugbek, have you actually tried to promote your business, your class project, your specialization paper that will develop your future? If not, use every class we have. Try to start leading as much as you can. Don't wait for me just to call your name. Some people have contacted us, the teaching team, and said that the class is a little bit maybe confusing, or they don't know what they need to do. So Vincent, you understand at a scale of 1 to 10, is it perfectly clear about the two main assignments?
Yeah, it's very clear.
And when did you start getting marks in class?
So we can get marks with the weekly topics we can present each week. We have the choice on the Excel, and we have the term project. So for term project, we have on the week 7 the half of the project to do, and at the end of the semester we need to do all the projects, and we can have bonus point in course. So when we're
Good.
talking,
How many marks did you get last week? Because you were one of the first ones to actually present.
I don't know, I don't have a check.
Oh, you didn't check. You don't
Yeah.
care. Well, maybe that's a good thing. Some people don't care about money. They don't care about marks evaluations. But for the rest of you that want 100 marks in this class, when you present, make sure you get the evaluations from your classmates, because these are peer reviewed. I obviously can influence the grade, but if you want the marks, get the marks from other people. And the teaching team will help make sure other people hand in details. So anybody that missed Vincent's great presentation last week, we videoed it, and the video is in CTL, and it should be shared in the Facebook groups. Here is some of the information that we have here. This is some extra details. This doesn't have the videos yet from last week, but still being processed. They are in CTL. So please go through and give a mark out of 20 to Vincent for his presentation, and also give 3 comments for change. Everybody needs to change and develop. What are some things you could change and develop?
And where do we have to give the mark? We have to send it on the group?
You can send that to the teaching team, and we can share that. But because it is peer reviewed and you guys are creating it, I think it would be fine to put this into the Excel table, so you can provide comments for his presentation. He should have links to his PPT in Facebook or in the Excel file, so you can provide comments there. But make sure you give it at least to the teaching team, and we will record that with everybody else. Is that clear, Laura?
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. What else? So that was an amazing thing that Arthur and Vincent were able to help us talk about, but my focus was different. My focus was Jeff Bezos is hiring other people, seriously hiring staff for every day that he lives to help out with things. Why am I talking about you should be thinking of the same thing? Adrian, how could you be hiring staff just like Jeff Bezos, maybe with a smaller budget?
I think that organizing some seminaries between people could be good ideas, and also I think escape games are good ways to improve their relationship between people.
I didn't really understand that. Could you, why am I showing this right now? We are in not the most expensive country like Monaco, where a normal worker, you need to pay $190,000 a year for them to work, or Liechtenstein. I'm from Canada, where the average income or the GDP per capita is $46,000 a year. We see down here, Japan, 40,000, Korea, 32,000. I use the UN because I have the preference connections there, but all the way down. The world average is $10,000 a year. So why else could you or should you be thinking of hiring other people like Jeff Bezos does? Anybody want to guess? Be creative?
Yeah. I think so. Like what you're meaning is like in some country, as the GDP is really, really low, we can hire people for cheap. And yeah.
Yes, you can hire people for cheap. Absolutely. You see here that India, almost the most populous country in the world, 1.3, 1.4 billion people. The average is $2,100 per year. I'm not just saying go cheap. There are good people and bad people everywhere.
Yeah.
managing human resources, you should identify what is the best from anyone and try to continuously develop that. Surround yourself with better people than you and don't waste your time. So if you could find somebody in India that could help you in our class, go for it. How? What are some examples? How could you get somebody to help you with class? Jacob here, what do you think? Zarnigar, what do you think?
Yes. Can you repeat the question, please, Professor?
We were talking about you should work with other people in class to develop projects, but we were also now saying that you can hire somebody in some other country to work for you. You don't have to be rich like Jeff Bezos. Maybe in Korea,
Yes.
the average income is $32,000 a year, but in India, it's $2,000 a year. So for $2,000, you can have a full-time person helping you develop. And with 1.3 billion people and knowing you know HR management, you know how to manage people, more importantly, you know how to develop people, you should be getting the best people and helping them to become even better. So you are surrounded by people better than you. So what could you do, Zarnigar, in class to hire somebody? Why would you want to hire somebody for our class? I'm not saying you have to. I'm just asking, what could you hire somebody for?
To get some more detailed information about what we are talking about, our projects, maybe.
Absolutely. How much would you like to pay? Is your dad Jeff Bezos by any chance? Do you have billions of
No.
dollars to throw away? Or, for example, I have worked in Nepal before, and do you see how much is the GDP per capita, or what is the yearly salary there? Can you see on my screen?
Yep. It's very small. Which country you're talking about?
Nepal. Generally, it says $1,074 per year. And so that works out to, if we say 52 weeks per year, so 1,074 divided by 52 divided by, in many countries, 6 working days per week and 8 hours per day, that turns out to be how much? Something like 40 cents? 40 cents an
Yes.
hour to get somebody that is maybe one of the best in Nepal to help you, to work with you. So I'm not saying be cheap. I'm saying be wise. Manage the people around you efficiently. Any questions about that?
No, everything's perfect.
How many of you have actually hired somebody online to help you with a project? I don't see
I
any
have
hands.
tried.
Gulkano, great. Can
Personally
you tell us
never
all
hired.
Gulkano, could you tell us about how you tried?
I just I cannot get the specific statistics from Uzbekistan, so I want to help. I want to find somebody to help me to find the statistics relating to my business plan. But actually, I cannot find them. I'm writing, I'm typing, I'm communicating, but they cannot help me. I'm mostly focusing on the students who's studied financial institution and economic institutions, but they also cannot help me right now. So I'm in the progress. I'm searching.
A work in progress. Okay. Let's go through. I'm going to show anybody else. I heard somebody else talking about they've tried to hire somebody or they have hired somebody.
Oh no, I said I never tried hiring, but I got some friends that study nearly the same field as me, so I tried to communicate with them to work in some projects on
And
my previous semester.
could you and how did it go? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
It didn't work because I actually wanted to get some information about negotiating with other countries, and I asked them like what they have been learning because they were studying for more than 3 years. So, um, like they didn't give me any specific information. They just said I have to study it for myself, do my research from Google. So that's how it went.
So they just
They
told you
were just lazy.
okay. Anybody else? Has anybody ideas? Give me some good stories rather than hire somebody and it didn't work. How should it or could it work? Anybody?
Well, I got some advice from my company senior, like, and he's gonna like give us some information about like HRM, which is ongoing in our in my company. Like, I'll be getting the information as soon as possible, maybe, if he, when he replies my message.
Okay, how else we can talk to and we should talk to some of the alumni that have already studied in our university, because especially in Korea, East Asia, any student that is older than you in the same program or same university is kind of informally required to help you. They're supposed to act like a big brother or big sister. Use that. Get that big brother to help you. What else? Any other ideas? Where can you find sources of information?
Can I say now?
I can't hear you, Hua.
Okay.
You're muted. You need to unmute if you want to talk.
How about now?
You're still very quiet. Anybody else? I think we can hear. Okay, it's taking a while. What is Elance? What is Odesk? What is Freelancer? Can somebody talk to me about those? Are you guys aware of those details?
Freelancer.
Yes.
So freelancer basically individual that they don't work for any company. They just like somebody hire them to do something, but they don't belong to any companies.
So you should be able to see in the chats section, I have just given you several different links. And one of the links is the second from the bottom, is showing the Wikipedia, the pay per country. Another one is showing about the rich people in the world, but this one showing the work alternatives. Hopefully you can see this. So this is examples of where you can go to hire somebody else. And this is where a lot of companies do go to hire other people. So save your time. That's one of the things they're talking about. And there's many different freelancer platforms. For example, Outsourcely.com. What is it? Outsourcely is the world's easiest way to find, hire, work with reliable, vetted remote workers from 132 different countries that are looking to build long-term sustainable relationships. At least that's what this website is saying. I'm not sure that this website is reliable, but this website is able to link you to other sites. Another one, for example, freelancer.com. Hua was just talking about that. What that is, freelancer.com is a global outsourcing marketplace, very similar in function to Upwork, which is even more, maybe more developed than Freelancer. It allows potential employers to post jobs that freelancers can bid to complete. Can you guys see these details okay?
Yes.
Okay, let's look through this a little bit more. This talks about, for example, on Freelancer, why it's different. On free, basic, and plus memberships, you pay $3 or 3% of the total project cost to the website, and then you can hire anybody. And they have monthly fees, sometimes $49 to $200 respectively, if you're a big company. But do you know how much should you be thinking of when you're thinking of hiring somebody? What is a possibility?
Mm,
Laura, what do you think? Can you give us an example of some job you could hire somebody for and a possible range of pay that could be considered?
That's a good question. For my experience, I just have been once hired with online because I was on a teaching website and a French company, they called me. I was thinking it's a student, but no, it's a company. And they asked me to call a German company because they were doing like an expertise for a client about Germany. And I was paid cash, like nobody knows I'm existing. And so I don't really know.
Were you paid a reasonable amount?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What is a reasonable amount in your home city? And what is a reasonable amount where you're living now? Do you know those?
Not really. I know France is higher than Korea, but I don't know more.
Okay, so this website, Fiverr, is another website. People per hour is another. So there's many different websites. You can go to these websites, and the websites will help you find somebody. And then when we go back to what are the costs, when you're hiring somebody, you can easily identify what is the yearly pay easily, but then you don't need to hire them for a year. You could hire them for a week or just a project or just by the hour. It depends what you're doing. Usually it's best to identify the specific project you want finished and pay for finishing that project. Maybe you could pay half for half of it finished, and then after it's fully finished, you can pay the rest. Those types of things help people working with others. Why am I talking about that? Because the trend to stop hiring people for life is growing very fast. The idea of companies giving a student a job and you stay in that job until you're 100 years old basically don't exist anymore. So you should be planning to work with the trend of going back and forth in many countries, many companies. And so the more you start working with others, the more you know how you yourself can work with others and promote yourselves, like using our class activities. You can hire somebody, if you're rich, $200,000 a year to help you research or edit or type your papers. Or, as we said, Costa Rica, $12,000 a year. If that's still too expensive, we can go down to, again, the bottom. And Kenya, where the official language in Kenya is English, and they have pretty good education. So in Kenya, it's $1,800 per year. You could hire somebody and they could help you research, or they could help you edit, or they could help you type things up, or they could help you develop your business plan, or develop your company, or make your marketing websites and things like that. So there's a lot you could do, starting, for example, as we said, in Nepal, this would be 40 cents per hour. But should you pay 40 cents an hour? Let's stop talking about just hiring cheap, and let's talk about, is this correct? How much should you pay? Do you think in Nepal, people are actually on average popularly getting $1,000 pay for 1 year of work? What
No, I
about,
don't think so.
you think so? Okay. What about in the Philippines? What about in, if we go up here a lot, sorry for moving quickly, through Korea, 32. Do you think the average person in Korea is making $32,000 a year?
No.
No? Okay. Comment. I need a little bit more than just no.
Sorry. It's average, but not everyone does the same job, and every job is very different from each other, and there are still a lot of people without jobs. So it can't be that clear. It
Right.
can't be
So
true.
So this is the average. It's talking about all people in the country. But as she said, some people have no jobs. So that means the truth should be maybe lower than this. What else? Who else or what else changes this number so it's not exactly true? Fahim Malik, Vincent, Arthur, any of you want to comment? Why is this number close to correct, but usually not exactly correct?
Because, like said Zoran and Goro, we have a lot of difference between the first one and the last one.
Okay, can you explain more about who is the first one?
Oh, I don't know who is the first one in Korea, but the first one can earn million or billion each month or each years, and
Absolutely.
the last one can earn just one or something like that, or nothing. So the balance is not it's not balanced.
Right. So if you look at the bottom of this website, it talks about the GDP per capita. It is distorted. You have people like Jeff Bezos, or in Korea, you have obviously the family that controls Samsung, or the family that controls Hyundai. They're making billions of dollars every year, right? And so those billion-dollar people, it's not the same as people that are average or normal, and it's not the same as the people that are unemployed. Usually, those billion-dollar people make the average higher than normal. And so these numbers that we're looking at, it says here in Somalia, it's $100 per year for a person to full-time work for you, $100. And we know that there's some people like the president or some rich company owners are super rich. So the truth is probably in Somalia, the average real popular pay is less than $100 per year. So that's one thing to think about. So what should you pay? Is it bad? Is it ethical? Let's talk about the ethics of human resource management. There's many things we're talking about here. Overall, the idea of human resource development, I was just taking one part of one slide in our presentation. And there's many things we could talk about, but I want to hear from you. So any comments?
I was about to talk about ethics, and I think like ethics is really like a subjective subject. So people have to be aware of what they want to pay and who they want to pay and how long they want to pay them. So I think like that's like if people have no human like acting, they can pay you like $1 a year. If they don't care, they don't care. But I think we have to pay people enough for them to live correctly, and it depends on the price of living in each country. So that's kind of difficult to pay people that are living like in Nepal. If you live in France, you have to know how good enough they can live to pay them.
Okay, good. Any idea, any suggestions how you could do that? Sarnagor, if you're going to hire somebody from another country, how do you know what is good enough to pay them? How do you know what's reasonable?
I would say like look up for GPA first. And then no,
that's interesting.
the countries. No. Let me get to my point, please.
Sure.
And then see what's the person that we are trying to hire. What's their position? The job they're working, and see the statistics, like how much they get paid for an hour, and then I think it would be reasonable to pay the same amount.
Okay, good. I love what you're saying. It's just make sure you're aware of what's in your mind is biased. And actually, Zarnago, what you actually said was the idea is perfect, but the word you actually used, you said you have to check their GPA. Maybe because you're a student, you are looking at your grade point average, but what I'm showing on the screen here is GDP, which is a little bit different.
GTP.
The-
I first said GTP, and then I don't know why I changed it to
It's just
GPA.
so it's good. Make sure you realize your ideas are just yours. And there's almost 8 billion people in the world. You have to check your idea is okay for others. And so sometimes we have the issues about, well, women get paid less than men, or Black people or minorities or handicapped people get paid less than other people, or people in Nepal or India get paid less. Is that ethical? Is that okay? Gulkano, you have your hand up?
Yes. If I want to hire from the people from another country, in the first place, I will search. If I want to hire engineers, I will look at the engineer's salary in this country. And the second of all, I will look at this person's history, what kind of projects he has already done. After that, I can negotiate the payment.
Good. So you check in that country first, and this list that we have on our screen would show what is the average pay in that country. And then you could realize how much they actually work, how many weeks, how many hours, how many days they work. Usually in many countries around the world, there's 52 weeks per year. There's 6 normal working days per week. A lot of people may jump on me saying, well, no, in France, it's definitely not like that. In Korea, it might not be like that. And I'm from Canada. In Canada, you don't have 6 work days per week. But I didn't say in the rich countries. I said in most countries. And so be aware of that. The average person, a lot of people are working with less than $2 per day around the world, almost 2 billion people. So, Eloise, was it your hand up also? Was there somebody else that had their hand up, wanted to share? No? Fahim Malik, go ahead.
It was me, but I would like to talk. I was thinking about talking about ethic.
Good.
And about the last country we can see on your screen, when the average is really small. It's also sometimes about corruption. Like there are some country, like one people is really rich and the other people has nothing. So that's why the average is also false.
Correct. So what is the solution? How do you work with that? How can you hire somebody ethically? What should you pay?
More than, I don't know.
So from my experience, I got hired by a YouTuber and I translate his video. And for a translator in Vietnam, it usually around $20 for a video, just do the translation. But for him, he said that it's not ethical and it's not enough for me to make a living. So he actually paid me because I did a good job and I still doing like a good job now. And he paid me like double than that just because I have my skills and I bring more viewers for him. I bring more money to him. So that's why he paid me more. So it also depends on the level of the employee.
So some people calculate, for example, I'm posting Kenya in our screen. And the idea of Kenya is we are studying and working in English. We are supposed to communicate in English. I'm not saying you have to in your life going forward, but at least for this class, it's English. And Kenya's official language is English. It's also Swahili. I can teach you a couple of Swahili words if you want, but because their official language is English, they can write well, they can research well, they can communicate with you well. They have an accent, so maybe it might be a bit of a challenge to understand their accent at the beginning, but it is English. And in Kenya, again, many people are working for like $1 an hour, less than $1 an hour. If you double that, $2 an hour, some of you are probably paying more than that for your morning coffee. Starbucks, anyway, who was the last person that had a Starbucks? What does Starbucks coffee cost here in Korea? Any idea? I usually avoid Starbucks, but I think it's $5 for one cup of coffee. Isn't
That's
it?
something like 601.
601?
6,000.
6,000. So that's about $6. And don't forget, the coffee, a lot of it comes from Kenya. So the coffee is from Starbucks, coming from workers in Kenya and coffee in Kenya, and they're selling it for $6, but they're definitely not paying double, as Hua said. So what could be ethical? I want you guys to think about some of those things. What about BLM? What's that mean? Black Lives Matter. Should you pay the minorities less? Women usually get paid less. Should I pay a woman less? I remember working with government officers. I'm not going to say which country, but the government officer is supposedly respected amongst the highest level of respect in a country. And that person required everybody that applies for a job, you have to show a beautiful picture of yourself. Number one, that's illegal in Canada. Number two, you have to say how old you are. That also is illegal, unethical in Canada. And that government officer, he was saying he doesn't want women because they're always going to run around and get pregnant. Eloise, is that just like you? Any comments from you? You want to jump on my head? I'm not talking about what's right or wrong. I'm just giving an example, and I want you guys to comment. Should you pay women less?
No, because I heard a lot of time in Japan it's the same thing. They don't hire women and beautiful women because they get birth and they want children because they are very pretty, so they are husband and after they are children, and it's is a problem for company because they lost money with a pregnant woman. So it's an example for you, but it's a true thing in Japan.
I laughed, and I need to stop and say, I'm sorry. This is not a laughing matter. A lot of people may laugh and they may think it's funny, but that's because I am a guy. I don't have that problem. So guys may think it's funny. And I know it is not. It's serious. It is a big, big problem. And I'm a white guy, which is extra bad. Everything almost anywhere in the world is kind of easy for me. I'm spoiled. And so you have to get out of your mind. Not as much as, who is it? Zarnigar got out of her mind when she was talking about GDP and she said GPA, but make sure you think about what other people want and value and need. And yes, it's definitely not right to say women deserve less. And I didn't think about pretty women deserve much less because they're going to get pregnant faster. That's not my words. That's somebody else's words.
No, I know.
Fahim Malik, you're smiling. Is this funny to you? Do you think it's ethical? What do you suggest?
I don't have any idea on it.
Not acceptable. Everybody has an idea. You just don't want to say it, maybe.
I think this is really bad things. Actually, it depends on people, how they react on the situation. I mean, there are so many people, bad and good, as you mentioned previously. So just like that.
So how do you, what are things that you could do to pay well?
I mean, okay, for hiring people?
Yes.
Or what?
If we are saying you should hire somebody now to help you do our classwork and help you develop your dreams, your career, your job.
Yes.
And if you hire somebody, how do you decide what to pay them?
Yes, I would say I will encourage people and I will give incentive to the people that if you do this work, if you complete this project, then I will give you a better and I think collaboration is one of the most important things nowadays. So we should collaborate. And I know that India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, these are the cheapest country to pay. So I would hire from there, and I would like to collaborate and encourage people to work together. And so, like as we are collaborating right now in the class.
Okay, so hire somebody from a country that is affordable, or as you're saying, low pay is normal, like Bangladesh. Maybe the English there might not be as good as in Kenya, where it is the official language. But yes, and you can work with them. And as you said, give them some bonus for doing a good job. I've heard a couple of things. Well, hire based on quality, not just the pay. Try to surround yourself with better people than yourself. You could identify what is the normal pay, but also identify if that person's better than average. So one way to do it is just make it into a project. Don't just pay by the hour, but pay for a project. If you finish the project, you get half, maybe at the beginning, or halfway through, and then half once they've finished. And if they do well, you can give a bonus. Awesome. Anything else? Any other suggestions? What could you do?
No.
Is that a good idea to ask the person how much do they want? And then
I think it's myself. I want to hear from everybody. That's an awesome question. I want the class to answer it. I would say those words that you used are not ideal, but maybe it's just because I'm a PhD. Every small detail I attack. Ulugh, do you want to comment on what Hoa just said? Should you ask people how much money you want?
I think yes, it would be better if we talk about money, how much they want.
I want $1 million.
I know. It should be about approximately average salary in that country.
Okay. So yes, what you were talking about, what Hua's talking about is similar, but Hua, you actually said how much they want. That's it's nice, but it could be a dream. How much they have been paid before, number one, so we are dealing with reality, and how much they think they deserve. That's different than just dreaming about some crazy number. So yes, maybe identify what are other people doing your job currently paid. Or again, I promote the idea of how much you think you deserve and why. Anybody interested in talking about details? I am a professor. I deal with this, but I also run companies. And as you know, I have a paycheck coming from this university, but you pay my salary. I work for you. Am I doing a good job? Do you have comments? Do you think you should take some of my pay away? Do you think you should pay me more? Do you, what do you think about pay? Feel free to talk about me. I am an open book, more than most other people you will meet.
May I answer?
Sure.
As a student, I may pay for you more because you're working with the students. You're giving the necessary links, so we can just we know from where we can check our statistics, and we can get our reliable information. So comparing to other professors, you are more valuable for me.
Good. Tell the world. Tell the president. Tell my boss. Make a higher pay for me. Promote. How could, seriously, am I joking? I'm not joking. You guys, you students, you should realize that things with the Arab rising, the idea of a country completely changed from people protesting. Those started from students. You guys are students. The idea that you guys should speak up. I know this university doesn't pay the most. I have worked for several other universities that pay more than double. So you could talk about that, and you probably should talk about things. If you identify a good worker, you should promote them. How could you promote them? You could put comments to the dean or the president, or in LinkedIn or Facebook. Those are good things. But what else? How much? What do you want to talk about? I'm working for you. Are you paying me fairly? Am I working for what you want?
I think KMU should pay you more. No.
Thank you. Which is funny. I think you don't even know how much I'm paid, and you're already saying pay me more. Okay, good. I'm sorry. I need to learn to be quiet. Professor, shut up.
Most of your time, you give us most of your time, and you help us. Like personally, you help me a lot. So I think it would be fair to pay you more than the other professors. It's my personal opinion.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the university pay. It's just saying whatever the university is paying, this professor is working more than the other professors, or this professor's helping the students more than other professors. I hope that's going to be in the recording, and I'm going to play that over and over and over again on YouTube. Thank you very much. Please say that in my LinkedIn profile, or to the dean or to the president. Let's get serious though. Adrian, you're kind of quiet. Eloise, you're also quiet. Any comments from you?
Eloise has a little problem. She's come back soon.
Go ahead, Vincent. You want to keep talking?
Okay. I don't know, because we don't have the other professor who do the same I don't know, classes than you, so we can compare. But maybe you are better or you are not better.
Maybe I'm worse.
You are worse, maybe. So we don't know. I think we need to have other professor to see, and after ask the people to earn more money than other people.
I think in HR management, you need to identify, number one, who you are, and then identify better people than you around you and start trying to work with them. We're in a class. You need to identify there's two main projects. You have to get those done to pass the class. But those projects, you should think bigger. How can that help your future? So if you want to work for some other organization, make your class project for that organization, not just me as the professor of this class. What else? What about publishing? I am an old guy. Maybe you can't see it. Maybe it looks like I have nice, sexy brown, amazing hair, but I'm old. I'm a lot older than most of you. And so the idea of what is normal, I see is not common practice. Common sense is not common practice. I have told you that you should write a paper and publish it and give it to a company. But that's not new. I've been doing that for over 20 years. Any idea how many students actually write a term paper? Everyone. But how many people publish it? Julie, I'm just going to guess you have written many papers in your education. How many have you published? Why not?
Because I didn't publish paper.
Where is it here? So you didn't have a paper. For this class, you will have a paper. And so, for example, last semester, some of the best students in my classes, every student has to write a paper, but some of the best students, they wrote a paper. And then when the class finished, I gave them 100%. But I want to do more. I tried to help them publish their paper. And so I actually paid people to fix the paper up, because the students are not experts in papers. They're not experts in research. So I helped fix it up and redesign the paper so it could match and get published by a journal. And then we talked to the student saying, okay, congratulations, class is finished. I fixed up your paper. I'm here telling you I can now publish it. But the student said no. Julie, at the end of this semester, you will have a paper for class. I hope you will publish it. Why do you think somebody might not publish it, or should they publish it? What do you think?
I think they want to company look at his paper, and that's why they publish her paper, their paper. But if they don't want,
you don't know why?
No.
The idea of anybody that gets a publication, if it's a respectable organization, if it's a respectable journal, it should help you. It should definitely help your future. Some people, you should understand, are influenced by their environment. And one of the most popular things in Korea is K-pop. And K-pop people, recently, there's been a couple of actresses that we're rich, we're famous, we're very successful. And then because they're successful, people are checking, what did they study in school? And they found their thesis paper and they identified, wow, this thesis paper, it's pretty good. But then they started checking more and they found out that student actually copied it from somebody else. They plagiarized it. And so the university took the degree away. The person lost their job. It was all part of fraud. There are several big problems. And so maybe in Korea, people are worried about that. So that's another reason why you could hire somebody to help you research, help you write properly, not worry about those types of problems. Anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic. I want you guys to be aware of these details. What about Black Lives Matter? I want to just clarify, some people now in our class, we know that women sometimes don't get jobs because they're pretty, or women sometimes don't get jobs just because they can have a baby. Well, I've had babies too. I've got 4 kids, but I've never had an interview or employment hurt me just because I have 4 kids. So start thinking about these things. What about Black Lives Matter? What they're talking about is in North America and in many countries, Black people face more hardship than people like me, white people. So should you just say Black Lives Matter? What's the difference between Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter? What's the difference between that? Why do some people get angry when you say all lives matter? No idea? Going 5 seconds.
Oh, I have an idea.
Great.
It's now Black Lives Matter is a global thing to discuss, to be honest, especially after the death of George Floyd. A lot of people get angry because they say all lives matter. I mean, of course it does, but people discriminate Black people like way too hard, and they treat them really bad, like it was like centuries ago. So people, like, it's normal to get angry when they say all lives matter. I mean, yes, but Black Lives Matter, like, not more, but like their lives matter because they've been treating it really bad for a long time, and people have started talking about it like decade or 2 ago. So it means this topic should be considered more than focusing on all lives matter. And right now, American Asianists are getting attacked by Americans, and which is also getting like really bad because it's racism, and let's say in some other way nationalism, and Asian lives matter too. And it like, so what I mean is we should focus on what's like problem and what's the problem, and we should cure it, not like all lives matter, but because white people are privileged and they can get anything they want because they are white, it's wrong.
Good. You just
I think people should be, let's say.
Yeah, you said so many valuable things there. I'd like to just point out a few. For example, people forget what you know and what you feel might not be normal for the world. For example, I am a white male from Canada, but I'm not Canadian. I have been internationally working for so long, I don't have a regular Canadian culture anymore. I've been in Korea for so many years, I have probably more Korean culture or Korean understanding than some Korean students in this class, but I'm still not Korean. So that's one thing. The other thing is what is normal and the status quo after 5 years, 20, if you guys are 20 years old, for 20 years, what's normal for you, that's one thing. And it's important to know what's normal for you is not normal for somebody else. But then let's think for the Black Lives Matter, that has been a problem. We have been cheating, we've been torturing, we've been making Black people slaves for hundreds of years. And so the normal, the status quo is to keep treating them bad. And so if you just do what's normal and try to avoid being racist, if you try to avoid just being prejudiced, then you're going to be okay, but you're going to continue allowing the normal to continue. And the normal is bad. The normal says pretty women shouldn't be hired in some places, or women, because they can have babies, shouldn't be hired, or they should be paid less, or Black people less. So only after you identify that status quo, that norm is bad, and we have to do something to fix what is normal. So you need to promote the people that have had the problems. And the idea of getting back into human resource management, try interacting and collaborating with other people as soon as you can. The sooner you can learn to grow collaboratively with others, the sooner you can learn to delegate, the more you can get done. I will be trying to publish all of your papers. I'm going to start with usually the best papers because it can help your resume. If you don't, contact me. But I personally pay for that. The university doesn't. Other universities may, but this university doesn't pay anything, not even for TAs. So think about that. That's one idea. Oops, we were down here. Our class time is almost up, but I want you to start considering globalization, and not just for the weekly topic, like the globalization of HR, but the idea of how are you as a person, as a possible company, as a consultant, how are you working with globalization? And the idea, if you keep going down through this PPT slide, this is a great story, and this is a interesting video talking about a few different things here. So first of all, this story is talking about a business case for diversity in the workplace. It generally shows that the more different cultures you have working with you, the more different views you have. And if you have many views, you usually get better results. It could be harder to work with people from other cultures at the beginning. But if you're focused only on the project, if you're focused only on the activity and you assign an activity to people, usually you get better results. You have different views. And so this goes through, there's many different details here. It talks a lot about Singapore. Next class, our students are going to be talking about something related to this. Hopefully you can come back. I have shown you a PPT. I've shown you videos. I've shown you Wikipedia pages. There's articles here that you can, let's see. Here is an article written by government officers, market briefs, the Canadian government, talking about things so that there's a lot of different things you can show, but start dealing with globalization today. Singapore is a very small country, only 5 million people, but it is one of the most successful countries in the world. What is the pay in Singapore? Can you guys see? Where is Singapore here? Canada is 42,000. Sweden, Singapore, $58,000 is the average pay in Singapore. So why? Maybe it's because they are